Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to FishBooks Friday with Hubdoc. I'm here live with Jamie McDonald. Jamie's going to be sharing some really cool brand new features with us, as well as giving us just a brief tour of Hubdoc. And of course, we're here to answer all of your questions as well. For those of us joining us live, please go ahead and ask any of your questions in the chat window. So I'll be able to answer some of those questions, possibly, while Jamie is doing the demo. So this is how you can reach me. My name is Rachel Fish. At FishBooks is usually a safe bet. And all of you, of course, are invited to join our QB-HQ group on Facebook. So I'm really excited how well that is growing. So just to take a minute here to introduce Jamie. Jamie happens to not be in this picture. This is actually Matt and Yusuf at IPBC conference last year. And Hubdoc, we had to clear the crowd away from the Hubdoc table in order to take this picture because it was the most attended booth at the IPBC conference, and it's basically everywhere they go they have this huge following. And I was just actually talking to Jamie here while grabbing a bite to eat that the clients that I have on Hubdoc trying to get their year ends done and trying to get their monthly reporting and stuff done, I don't know how I did it in previous years. It's just so much smoother. You're not having to nag the clients as much as well, which is awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and pass things off to Jamie if you wanted to start sharing your screen.
Perfect.
And we'll be good to go.
So hi everybody, I'm just, give me a second while I get queued up. First of all, Rachel, thank you and welcome to Hubdoc HQ in Toronto. This is our first time. We do these webinars with customers and influencers all the time, and this is the first time we've had someone in our office, and so that's an exciting day for us. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
And it's a special sad day for us here too, because our Waterloo Co-op students, it's their last day before they go back to school, so we're celebrating with a hack day and team lunch. And hack day is relevant for the people on the phone because that's when the developers get to work on anything they want for the day, and at the end of the day they produce kind of their day's work. And so today we're excited by what they're building and what we're going to see at the end of the day, and that's how kind of new features get built at Hubdoc. And those are some of the things that I'm going to show you when we get to the demo today, so looking forward to it. I guess just a quick refresher on what we're trying to do in terms of driving value for accountants and bookkeepers. One, never chase your clients for bills and statements again. And then the second element of our customer promise is no more data entry, which is really about creating transactions and downstream systems. Today I'm going to show you Hubdoc to QBO with sales tax attached to it. And the end result, as Rachel said, at the end of the day is, closing your books faster with your clients, audit-proofing your business. And then something that we're hearing more and more is Hubdoc's changing my relationship with my clients from one of asking them for stuff with each touch, get me that bank statement and get me that receipt, to when I'm talking to them, it's about delivering advice and becoming that trusted advisor. So kind of changing the nature of the relationship and making you like a partner in the business as opposed to the person who asks your clients to produce irritating bank statements or tax documents. So the traditional back office, this is a story that Rachel knows well in terms of this transition to the cloud, a rear view approach to cash flow, year-end rush around tax time, which thankfully we're all getting through in the next 48 hours, the shoebox, and this once a year or once a month interaction with advisors. And the final thing would be limited visibility into accounting costs. And the modern equivalent, which is the flag that we are all carrying forward, everyone on the call and our partners at Intuit, as well as all the other app partners out there. We're excited to tell the story about real-time financials being available throughout the year. I mean, I do the bookkeeping at Hubdoc to stay current with how our app works with the various platforms, and we do daily reconciliation, so we've got real-time view into the business on a daily basis, which is kind of a direct contrast to the last software business that Jamie and I ran together, where we'd be shipping a QBD desktop file back and forth to our virtual bookkeeper, and it would take us 3 weeks to close each month for a pretty simple business. And then I talked earlier about the ongoing trusted advisor relationship and how removing irritants and friction from your relationship with your clients can really change the game and how you're perceived by them, which is pretty cool. So we've done a few product enhancements specifically focused on the Canadian market in the past 3 weeks. We launched sales tax, which is what I'm going to show to you shortly how it works. And also yesterday announced Canadian dollar pricing, which shouldn't be a big deal, but is absolutely a big deal for all of our customers who've been asking for it for 12 months. And we finally delivered on a few of these things for our Canadian clients, which is awesome. And we're excited to show it to you. So I'm going to get out a PowerPoint and get into Hubdoc and see what it looks like. So I'll log out and log back in just so you guys have a view. So I'm going to log in as an accountant, and anyone who's seen our demo before knows that it's themed to The Simpsons. So I log in as Homer Simpson, and he's a CPA. Homer's got all of his clients. He's got Barney's Bolorama, Duff Stadium, Camp Krusty, of course, Moe's Bar. He can easily add a new client account just by clicking on that button. First name, last name, company name, email, and you're immediately collaborating with your clients on a Hubdoc account. If you've got multiple employees of your firm, you can give them selective access to your client accounts, which is pretty cool. So a junior bookkeeper only sees the client accounts they're working on, whereas somebody like Rachel, who's running the firm, sees everything. So let's take a look at Hubdoc, one of Homer's clients, this awesome little software company in Toronto, and see what we got. So this is our actual live Hubdoc file. I always show one of our robots working whenever I'm demoing. So I'm going to share my American Express card with Homer. And this is our US dollar card that we use for all those US dollar expenses like we used to use for our Hubdoc charge, but we won't have to anymore, which is kind of cool. So this is one of your clients deciding to share American Express with you. They enter their credentials into Hubdoc. The first time that we connect to the website, and it could be a bank statement, credit card, monthly recurring bill, whatever you want, we say, give us all the documents associated with this login, and we download the account history, which is pretty neat. So what you're going to see in this column is the American Express bills hopefully start to flow in here. We'll create a folder on the left side here called American Express, and magically those documents will appear. And of course, I'm going through bad demo mojo, so it's not appearing, but let's go back and check out what's going on, make sure I didn't make a typing error, checking Amex for new documents, okay. Anyway, while we're waiting for that to flow in, I'll go through the example of sales tax on Hubdoc and how we push it to QBO, and we can come back to those. Oh, there the American Express bills starting to roll in. So this is my last statement with Amex. I've got the actual hard copy here. And Rachel, I'd love to hear how you use kind of bank statements and credit card statements from Hubdoc when you're doing reconciliation at the end of the month for your clients. Is it kind of one screen's open to Hubdoc and another's open to QBO?
Absolutely, yeah. So I've got multiple screens and I can do them on 2 screens. And this is actually why I recommend Hubdoc for any of your clients on any accounting platform, because this fetch function alone is so crucial to not have to be nagging your clients. So I've got Hubdoc clients on QuickBooks Desktop, I've got them on QBO, of course, and then I also have them on a little-known accounting program called Ag Expert out of Manitoba. So, so because it has that fetch ability to it, the sync is powerful, and it's becoming more powerful with the tax. But for me, primarily, it's the statements, and it's those things that I don't have to nag my clients. So then what we can do is download them or view them as a PDF, use my PDF writer to do the little check marks, and then once I know that the statement's complete, I do my little paid note, or I make a note about questions or follow-up issues with the clients, and then we can go from there. So awesome.
So 4 of these statements have come in. If my recollection of Amex USA, we're going to grab about 17 or 18 of them. We also support CSVs for American Express, so just as a backup to the bank feed in case you ever are missing any transactions. And then you know, we're also grabbing like stuff from Rogers as an example, Uber, or for RBC, grabbing those statements, which is pretty cool. So I'm just going to log out of that and go back and actually start pushing some stuff to QBO so you can see our tax functionality at work. So Ray Luca sent us an invoice, and I emailed this into Hubdoc. So the ways to get documents into Hubdoc when we're not fetching them automatically, you can scan and drag them, drop them in here. So I've got an awesome question, which is, do I see a Hubdoc Google extension on Jamie's screen? And so I mentioned earlier that we work on Hack Day, and so you might see some things on my screen that aren't yet available to the whole public. So just
you didn't see that, Tiffany.
Yeah, Tiffany, you don't take a screen cap of that, but that might be a goodie that's coming soon. So you can email things into this. There's a unique email address for each Hubdoc client account, so your clients can email stuff in or use our mobile app to take a picture of a receipt. So I emailed this invoice in from our accountant earlier today. We've extracted, you know, the invoice number, the date, etc. And if you look at it, there's $102 in tax. And so I could write down the extracted amount, or I could select HST on, and so it's $102.70 on that $790 net. So I'm going to configure that to push to QBO, and this is an accounting or bookkeeping charge. It's a bill. Reluca's there. I'm going to say it's a Canadian expense, and so HST filing and 2015 tax return. And I can make it billable to a customer, but that's not the case here. And so that's going to publish to QBO, hopefully, which is all cool. And so you get that little green check mark, it's published. That's great. Let's take a look at another example, which is where I bought some coffee for the office yesterday at a place called Urban Fresh, or it was April 18th. And so in this case, in Ontario anyways, HST isn't on every food item, it's only on some of them. And so if I look down here, the total tax is $288, not $13. So I've extracted by hand that $288, and I'm going to say there's the extracted amount. And so I've published that already to QBO. And this one's on my credit card. It's a purchase, Urban Fresh, which is a Sobeys in-store brand. And so when we go and look at that in QBO, what we should see is that $288 in tax captured accurately. So let's go and have a look.
Before you do though, JP,
yeah,
when you're extracting the tax, what tax code is the extracted amount using?
Oh, so that's a good question. So if I go to my settings, when I first hook up QBO, I've got this little button here that says publish tax data. And so when I check that, I can select what the default tax rate is. So I could have said GST 5%, etc. And so it's going to extract, it's going to make an entry based on the 13%.
Great. So Tiffany has another question. Does Hubdoc recognize the payment method? So is it able to do that on receipt?
That's a really good question, and I know that's a feature that Receipt Bank supports, but at this point we don't yet extract the payment method and recognize it. It's something that we want to do in the future, but we're not there yet.
Awesome.
So let's go jump over to QuickBooks, and we're going to jump into new Hubdoc and just take a look at those two entries that got sent over. So while QuickBooks is loading, if I go to expenses, I think there were two that we sent over. So one was on April 2nd, I think it was, and there's the bill from Ray Luca, and I'll just click at that and take a look at it. So it's coded properly to the accounting and bookkeeping category. We've got the sales tax on there, and you'll remember the amount was $102.70. One of the features of Hubdoc is we actually include the receipt and attach it to the transaction inside QBO, which everybody loves. So that's a pretty standard transaction, and we've got the entry correct. And when we make the payment, or that payment for $892.70 comes out of our bank account, it'll just match automatically, which is awesome. And then let's go look at that Urban Fresh bill, which I think was the 18th. So there it is, and you'll notice before I go there that it's a split, and then the taxable amount is $2.88, which was what we extracted. So I'm going to click on this. It's sent to my credit card. It's attached to my credit card, which is, we noticed it was a purchase. And then you'll notice that the tax down here is $288. We've created 2 line items, one that's tax exempt for $75.97, and then one for $205.03, which includes that $288 of HST in there. So that's our first kind of kick at tax. We've gotten a bunch of feedback in the last 2 weeks about how we can improve the functionality, specifically around support for what do we do in these PST situations, and how can we handle that. So I can give an example of that. If you, for example, set your, let's see if I've got an invoice handy that I can just drop in here. God. I should have had this all queued up, but I don't. But I've got a million invoices in here, so it's only a matter of time. Invoice 02 PDF. Okay, let's put that one. That's not the one I want. Okay, here's one. So, of course, I need to drop it in the right place. So here's a bill from Air Canada. Again, I've just uploaded it. So it's sitting in the processing state, meaning it's waiting for us to extract data from it. But if I click on it, we can take a look at this, and I'm going to just quickly extract it myself. So it's Air Canada. We'll do it for 430 so we can find it easily. 564. And I'm going to say, before I do this, I'm just going to set my tax rate to GST. And so what will happen is it's going to collect, so that'll now be my default tax rate when I send it over to QBO, which is cool. And I'm going to say, instead of that, I'm going to do the extracted amount, which is $325. And so what should happen is we create a double entry for Air Canada. This is my ticket to Nassau, which I'm rubbing in Rachel's nose right now because she was going to go and then she decided not to. So if I publish that to QBO, what I should find, and for some reason I left QBO, but I'll come back, is that's going to be coded at a 5% tax rate and coded to the correct tax code, which is pretty cool. So we'll take a look at that. Rachel, any questions while we're waiting for just QBO to catch up with the demo?
Well, Tiffany is also rubbing it in my face that she's going to be seeing you at Scaling New Heights.
Awesome.
So, yeah, y'all are ganging up on me. No, thanks so much.
So there's the bill from Air Canada. Again, the tax at $325. We've done GST now at 5%, and the rest of it's a tax exempt, and then you've got the GST component there, which is all pretty cool.
So would that be the way then, because
I think that in Manitoba, that's how I do it, right? I'd set the default tax rate to the GST 5%, and then you'd be coding it properly, because that's the ITC that you want to track, right?
Yeah, because PST just gets expensed.
Indeed. So that's the demo. Will we be able to code each account soon? That's what Kelly asks. I'm not sure what that question is. Are you asking for splits, Kelly? When's the BBQ? That's an important question about when the BBQ will be. So I think what Kelly's asking is the idea that we could, instead of coding it to one account here, we could have an option which said split accounts. in which case we'd pop a screen and then we'd be able to say, some of it goes to inventory and some of it goes to shipping, which is a classic example.
So the follow-up there is splits would be great, which I think that feedback has already been received. But then when can I set Air Canada as 5%? So since we know that Air Canada is not going to be the 13, you're not going to be the GST, PST, when can I say when something comes through with this vendor on it, I want to have this sales tax code?
That's awesome. And the good news is you can already do that. So if I go to my manual accounts and go to Air Canada, not Air Canada Rouge, because whenever I fly Rouge, my knees, I end up eating them.
It's not made for 12 people.
So if I go to configure rules for QBO for my manual accounts, you'll see here that you can actually set a tax rate on a vendor-by-vendor basis. It's a little bit of work, and there was a lot of debate internally about whether we should actually put that here as well, and I kind of lost that debate. I think it should go there. But we decided it would be confusing if there was a tax rate up above as well as a tax rate in the QBO section. So the only place it's available is in the managed accounts area. So you can set it for any vendor. So whether it's like an automated vendor like Adobe or a manual one like Air Canada, you can then select what the default tax rate is for that vendor.
And a handy little shortcut that I discovered recently as I was actually planning this trip is that if you, when you're booking flights and hotels and stuff like that, where it says, do you want to send a copy of your itinerary? Then you can actually send it to your customized Hubdoc account.
Awesome.
Your customized Hubdoc email.
Yeah, it's not always an easy email to remember, and one of the things that many people are asking for is the ability to customize that. The reason we have all those crazy numbers is to prevent spam from getting into your account, because we don't want random people emailing stuff to it. But everybody's asking for the ability to edit this email so they can get something they want. Mine is a random spray 3 lumberjack, which is a little bit weird, but playful, and it is what it is. So that's it on the demo. So back to PowerPoint. One thing we always say, I know we've got a lot of customers as well as people who are just learning Hubdoc listening in today. So we offer a VIP account for all accountants and bookkeepers. Our theory is, what does VIP mean? Well, it means very important person, but in the context of Hubdoc, it means you don't have to pay for your account. And so sign up for Hubdoc, tell us you're an accountant or bookkeeper with clients, we'll VIP your account, and our hope is that you use it for your own business and eventually love it so much that you begin to add your clients.
I do absolutely use it for my own business too.
That's awesome. And then the last thing is, so if you want to talk, we love talking on social. Our favorite places to do so are Twitter and Facebook groups, which is where a lot of you guys hang out. If you want to see a demo, it's as simply as going to calendly.com/Hubdoc or call us. So Elaine's asking, is there same tax functionality for Xero? So the answer to that one is today there is not, but one of the developers who's taking the day off to work on Hack Day told me I should be testing in our staging environment Xero and tax. And so we expect that to ship in the next week or two.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks, Elaine, for a great question.
So it's 1:25. What else should we talk about, Rachel?
Well, I heard you guys had a really big secret that people actually kept this time that you guys just announced this week, which was the Canadian pricing, which was awesome. So it's been really interesting then, because everybody over the last year with the exchange rate, everybody's been very upset about paying US funds. So then what happens then when the dollar corrects and then you're like, wait a minute, we shouldn't be paying more because we're in Canada, and so now we want US pricing again. Will you kind of make sure that it...
I think our philosophy, and when we set the price at 25 Canadian a month, the dollar was at 75 cents. So we were effectively giving our Canadian customers a little bit of a discount. Since we've done that and worked on the functionality, it's at 80 cents today. So you get parity. What the real value is you get cost certainty, which is this is how much it costs on a monthly basis for your clients, which is great. And you don't have to pay those nasty 2.5% FX charges on your credit card, which is also great. So there's that value. And then unlike book publishers, we'll do a good job, once a year of adjusting the prices so Canadians and Americans are paying the same amount.
There always seems to be a discussion or a debate, though, because when you're talking to pro advisors that are moving from desktop applications to cloud applications, and then we're starting to use these plugins and these apps that allow QBO to be much more functional, there's always that debate then, well, but I don't want to have to be paying for all of these subscriptions for my clients. So first of all, Hubdoc is going to save you so much time, it shouldn't be an issue. But how do you approach pro advisors that have that, I want to charge it back to my client, or why would I pay extra money? Like for me, it's a time saver, it's a no-brainer. But how do you guys approach that discussion?
It's interesting. Like many accountants say, like Hubdoc's for me and app XYZ is for my client, right? And I think there's a bunch of different models, Rachel. So you can pay for your clients, which gives you a chance to take advantage of our volume price discounts. Or you can just have your clients pay for us directly and have access to it. So we offer that both options. And I'd say, 80% of our customers would be accountants and bookkeepers paying for their clients, and 20% would be accountants and bookkeepers who have introduced their clients to Hubdoc and have the clients paying for it directly. We're ambivalent between what works. So it doesn't really matter to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have kind of a mix of those because I have clients that love it for themselves so that they don't have to log into 10 different places
Sure.
to download stuff for their own use. And then I've got clients where we manage all of that for them. And so we do that. So Nadine's question actually kind of goes into that. So when you have those clients that you are fully managing that document retrieval and stuff like that, how does the pro advisor receive those email notifications and not the client themselves, because they're kind of separated from that function?
Yeah, Nadine, we're a small but growing quickly software company. I think if I look out behind me, the glass conference room to the office, we've got about a dozen people in our office. And so email notifications has just, like, there's 100 things I hate about our product, and email notifications is in the top 3. So rest assured that this is going to be fixed where you can set yourself up as the person who gets the notifications. I also want to be able to manage notifications globally, so turn email notifications off for everything or turn them on for everything. So know that this is on our roadmap and we're going to get to it in 2015, but it's not being worked on at the moment.
Awesome. And I think one thing for the knowing some of the teams from some of the apps, I think Hubdoc has probably been the single most responsive app that I've talked to, that when they get ganged up on, they work on it. So, like, I mean, I know it's been a little while for Canadian pricing and for tax and stuff like that, but these are things that we've been asking for that you guys are delivering on, and I think it's awesome to be able to see that coming. So what next are you working on?
Yeah, I mean, just building on that, one of the things we take pride in is our whole marketing ethos is how can we help accountants and bookkeepers? Because if we do that, they're going to like us and use our product. So the first thing we try and do is build amazing product, and then we try and be nice and helpful is basically our whole presence online, which Yusuf runs so ably. In terms of listening, it took us way too long to do tax in Canada, and pricing, the kind of volume got turned up on pricing in the last 3 months as the dollar collapsed. And we heard it in our surveys, we heard it in email, we heard it every time we went anywhere. So we just did it. It's a giant increase in operational complexity for us, particularly around our bookkeeping, but it's just worth doing. Like, we like building stuff for you people. It's fun. In terms of what's coming next, the thing people want the most, I'd say, are the ability to upload like a 50-page PDF and split that into 50 different invoices. And then the second thing would be multiple account codes for an invoice. So shipping and inventory on the same invoice. And I'd say look for those in the next 90 days.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek of what we've got next week. So next week, We have John Leishman from Bookkeeping Automation is going to be joining us Friday, May 6th, 1 Eastern, noon Central, and you guys can do the math from there. Thank you guys very much. I'm just going to turn off the recording, but we will be hanging out for a little bit answering whatever questions that you guys have. So thank you very much for joining us, and I hope to see you again next week.